Spiders are incredibly hard workers. They replace their entire web every single day. It's unbelievable. But this poor thing got trapped in its own web of crap. Hi, I'm Corey, and here's the full timeline of how Tobey Maguire got blacklisted. Just in the past decade, Tobey was on the crest of a wave of his career, but it turned out hard to balance on it. Not only is he not getting any roles, film companies just don't want to hire him at all. Tobey is on the same list as stars like Jim Carrey and Tom Cruise, who grew up very poor. He was born in Santa Monica in a family of a construction worker and a secretary before becoming a producer-screenwriter. He recalls getting groceries from the neighbors and sometimes sleeping in a shelter. So there's no wonder he was driven to reach such success and have a better life. Tobey dreamt of becoming a chef, but his mother promised to give him $100 if he took drama lessons. There was no chances a 13-year-old kid could resist it, so he dropped out of high school and focused on acting.
Like orange, strawberry, banana.
Well, why don't you just put some broccoli in there?
Tobey didn't have an easy life, being cast for small roles on TV shows for 5 years until one lucky day when he turned 18. Well, Maguire's age is a relative thing to use for The Matrix, but I'll explain that later. So he got cast for This Boy's Life alongside Robert De Niro and a very young Leonardo DiCaprio. And that's the starting point of how they became best friends forever. It was then when DiCaprio got the leading role of his first Oscar nomination for What's Eating Gilbert Grape. But for Tobey, it took much longer for strangers to recognize him on the street and ask for an autograph. Maguire was not going for the quality over quantity. He had an impressive list of films, but none of them were big enough, unlike his bank account. Tobey landed a role in the movie Empire Records. Fun fact, he's not on the film's poster. And here's why. Young, rich, and in the most populated celebrity kingdom, it didn't take long for Tobey and Leo to figure out what to do with their leisure time. Pussy Posse. By the way, make sure to include a double S if you decide to Google that, cause, you know.
Ew.
Pussy Posse was the equivalent of the iconic Dead Poets Society, but in Hollywood. Maguire, DiCaprio, Kevin Connolly, Lucas Haas, and J.R. Ferguson, and a magician named David Blaine were making a mess wherever they went. The squad's mission was succinctly expressed in its name. People still retell legends about their nightclub parties having the most expensive alcohol and of them flirting with the prettiest women. Having that many fans, having new friends, meeting pretty girls and partying every moment of your life away, I don't approve of that at all. It's what a shame. They should have played Nintendo and watched X-Files all night long like normal people did. Crazy teens. The gang partied so hard and so often that Tobey had to confess that he became an alcoholic by the age of 20. By the time I had my first tequila, he was already an addict. A million ways to die in Hollywood. That's why he had to turn down Empire Records. His part was written off and eventually he had to join Alcoholics Anonymous. Believe it or not, in his interview with The Guardian, he said, "I stopped consuming any mind-altering substances when I was 19 years old. And I've been abstinent since then." Man, they should be thankful they didn't have Twitter, Instagram, and cell phones with cameras, because none of them would have made it any further in Hollywood for sure. Tobey became sober and ready to film and got lucky to get a part in Woody Allen's Deconstructing Harry and The Ice Storm. His career finally took off. He starred in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas and got his first leading role in the Oscar-nominated movie Pleasantville, The Cider House Rules, The Wonder Boys, and finally received his General Education Development Certificate by the age of 25. Surprisingly, everybody survived the apocalypse of the 2000s and the first Spider-Man movie came out.
Go, Web! Fly! Up, up, and away, Web! Shazam!
Almost every girl was dreaming about that sweet upside-down kiss and wanted Peter Parker to save her from the dread of her school drama. Oh yeah, Tobey was super popular among girls at that time. He was the world's sexiest vegetarian and even dated Demi Moore for a while. Well, Demi must have liked dating younger men so much that she hooked up with a 15-year younger Ashton Kutcher. Tobey was paid $4 million for his role of Spider-Man, and he bought a $3.5 million Beverly Hills mansion right away. The movie was such a success in the box office that it led to 2 sequels, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3, in 2004 and 2007. Now, let's slow down a bit here. Tobey is a gambler, so no wonder the following events took place. The only thing he didn't expect was for Sony to call his bluff. Sensing that Spider-Man sequels are a potential goldmine, Tobey demanded a large payment, but apparently that was not enough to flatter his ego. For the Spider-Man threequel, the the executives asked Tobey to spend a day getting his face and body scanned for the complex visual effects scenes scripted in the movie, but Tobey refused and sent his doctor for the meeting with the directors to explain that he has back pain and cannot do all the tricks. Sony was sure it was a negotiating tactic to get more money, but they didn't buy it. The Spider-Man 3 release date was pushed back and Tobey received a call to let him know that he was fired. Well, Tobey didn't just rest on his laurels, and instead made his producing debut on 25th Hour with Edward Norton. Seems like blacklisted Hollywood souls were made to stick together. Rumor has it that Sony considered Jake Gyllenhaal as a sub at that time. Of course, Maguire was shocked to hear that and quickly set up another meeting with his doctor and the studio executives to revise the scenes. And suddenly, everything was approved. Sony was not going to put up with that, so they made him do a full physical examination and demanded he apologize. As he said, "I feel like I learned a lesson." Maguire was paid $17 million to return. He was already receiving 34 times more than Andrew Garfield did for his first appearance. That was one of the reasons the studio decided to put up with Tobey. The threequel was a total disaster. Do you remember these spontaneous dancing scenes? While people literally hated Tobey, Marvel and DC presented the first Iron Man and the Batman movies that were really good and pushed Spider-Man aside. So Sony needed a quick reboot with a new face. But Maguire had one more, perhaps less obvious problem in 2014. He was a gambler. His skills sucked, so he had to take some classes from the professional player Daniel Negreanu. And he then began to be spotted at the World Series of Poker, now losing his money professionally. In 2006, Tobey got married and had his first baby. It even had his first successful post-Spider-Man role in the psychological drama Brothers. And that was it. In 2011, he released a movie called The Details, which no one has ever heard of. 2012, The Spoils of Babylon, another under-the-radar flop. It's been 5 years since he got kicked off the franchise, and Tobey has had no luck with big projects. Great Gatsby was his last big project. His career was already drowning.
Could you pay me in advance?
So it seems that his best buddy, Leonardo DiCaprio, was his only life buoy. But let's be objective. Tobey was 38 at the time, and he was playing at Graduates. He did it well, but do you really think the studio would have given him the part if not for a quick call from Leo? Tobey and Leo are both the same age, but one is playing a grown, successful businessman, and the other one is playing a student at the age of 40. I wouldn't be very surprised if Tobey has a portrait hidden in his closet. But if he does, he probably has a fake one, because he is not doing good. The movies he produced, Pawn Sacrifice and The Good People, collapsed at the box office. But it seems like his career was dealt its final blow by a book. Not so long ago, Molly Bloom released her autobiographical book, Molly's Game, revealing the dark secrets of underground poker. According to her, A-list stars like Leonardo DiCaprio, Ben Affleck, Nelly, and even Alex Rodriguez were frequent guests, and Tobey Maguire too. And it turns out, he's a real jerk. He was rude and manipulative of other people paying their debts off. Player X, both in the book and on the screen, is a collective character, but it's pretty easy to determine that it's Tobey. Molly related to him only as Tobey in the book. A fun fact, DiCaprio was mostly just looking after his little bro. As Molly said, he wasn't a big gambler. He mostly came because his friend Tobey wanted him to come. I still cannot understand why Leo and Tobey are friends.
We've been friends for a long time, so we have a lot of trust for each other, and we were kind of in it together from the beginning.
But I guess it's just the power of men's childhood friendships.
Tobey, I've known for 25 years. You know, we grew up in this industry together. I've watched him becoming the father that he is, the man that he is, also create his own career and vice versa. We've known each other since we were, 13 years old, which is pretty amazing.
Can you believe he once offered her $1,000 as a tip to bark like a seal that wants a fish?
About a story where Tobey Maguire asked you to bark like a seal for a $1,000 poker chip. Sounds super misogynistic, degrading. I mean, is that an accurate portrayal?
She described him as the worst tipper, the best player, and the absolute worst loser.
Again, my money.
Your money is my money.
Is it?
You know what's ironic? Tobey is played by a teenager. Oh shit, he's actually 30. Double irony. Anyways, the book came out at the same time as his Pawn Sacrifice and completely destroyed his chances for success. He tried to take one more shot with the movie Rub and Tug, based on true events and starring Scarlett Johansson, but the movie did not come out because Scarlett received a backlash from the transgender community. Well, there's one last thing I should mention. Tobey will always be held hostage by that one character, no matter how much he tries to pull off a more dramatic character. He'll forever remain that guy from Spiderman. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Corey, out.